Hey everyone, welcome to the Recruitment Show. Sit back and enjoy.
I've always loved work. Growing up in the 1970s and 80s, I'm showing my age now, in a single parent family, going to local comprehensive, I had I guess you would just describe it as a challenging social mobility background these days in today's language. I started work really young, so I was literally in my early teens when I found different jobs. And I just at that time found that I could be me, so I could get away. I always felt I was good at school, but I always sort of felt it was a bit constrictive. So, and
What
having
school?
challenges at school,
Right.
kind of, there's the structure of, you have to go here and do this,
Yeah.
and then you have to go there and do that. I'm a little bit too rebellious for that, but too much of a good girl to kind of be disruptive, if you
Right.
like. So going and finding a job, my first job, I was a chambermaid. I used to cycle to go and change beds. I trained as a chef in a local restaurant in the
Oh,
Midlands where I grew up outside of school
nice.
as a teenager. And I just found like I could be me, if you like. I discovered me when I was at work. And so I guess
What
you could
was
say a
it?
lot of
Just out of
God,
interest, what was it about the work environment versus like the school environment that
mm.
enabled you to like find yourself or feel comfortable or feel happy or however you might describe it?
Yeah, no, it's a really good question. I think I've always felt different. I think a lot of people with social mobility backgrounds do feel different. Being in a single parent family was quite unusual in those days. It was frowned upon. It was a challenge. So at school, when you're in that situation, you tend to compare yourself to other people. Naturally, from a values perspective, I like to be free. I like to challenge things. I don't necessarily conform to rigid structures of working and those things. Whereas, a bell going and you go here and a new timetable says there, and then you're comparing yourself to other people. I always felt a little bit restricted when I was in that environment. Whereas in a work environment, I could just express myself. I could be Liz. I could be independent. Nobody was watching what I was saying. I could make people happy. If I was chefing or creating dishes or waitressing or whatever I was doing, as we do as teenagers, we're not in the
Yeah, yeah.
corporate career then.
No.
Then I could see how what I said or my energy could make people happy. Um, and could
Yeah.
make a difference. It's just an expression of self that I didn't experience at home or at school. That I really loved. Yeah, and I felt like I could be me.
Love that. Love that. How
Um,
did that evolve then? So you started working early.
mm.
You probably, I guess you finished school and
Yeah, so I
then,
finished school. I went to university. My
right.
dream job
Cool.
was actually to be a food buyer. So my dream
Ooh,
was really. I had this. I used to love. We didn't have very much money growing up, and so going to a supermarket then, we all do it now, but going to a supermarket then was a treat. That if when you were on a challenging budget back in those days, you went to the market to get your food. So yeah, we did. So it was. I used to. Oh my god! Like we'd go, and I would try and work out who somebody was based upon what was in their shopping basket or their
oh,
trolley. And I
nice.
still do it now. I'm dreadful. And the idea for me of being able to influence how someone felt or who they were, how they experienced their life and make them happy by putting a product in their kitchen or their fridge that they would experience to make them healthy or happy. I was
Yeah.
just blown away by that whole idea of being able to
I
influence people like that.
No, I love that. I still like going to the market. The market's where you get the best food, fresh
I agree.
fruit, veg. It's
I
incredible
agree.
food markets. Um,
Totally. I know. We need to
but
have more of them.
we do. But I think most people are probably. I was interested to see this. I don't know whether most people or not because I don't know the stats. But probably getting their food delivered. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah, absolutely. No, and even now I'm a foodie and I will walk around markets. My husband's French, so when we go to France, I just love it because you can
they've got
actually,
incredible.
just amazing.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah, amazing. So yeah, so I've always been really career focused. I had a real dream. I went to university. I got my dream job, and I absolutely loved it. But I saw my friends, my family, the people around me, people I worked with, all starting to change and conform. If you ask a 10-year-old child or whatever, what do you want to be when you grow up? Or maybe a bit younger, like 7 or 8, and they get this spark in their eye, this magic. Oh, I want to
Yeah.
be a nurse or a doctor or fly a plane or be a footballer or whatever. That spark seemed to go the minute people got a job, a proper job. And I was fascinated by that.
Yeah. That excitement and energy you have as a kid, that it's interesting, isn't it? That starts to
Yeah.
as it starts to wane, but you have to really lean into it to keep it as an adult, I think.
Completely, completely. And we're just about to launch the Be Yourself at Work survey later this week. It'll be on our website and we'll put it on our LinkedIn page, Be Yourself at Work. And one of the questions that we ask in the survey, we did the survey in 2019-20. One of the questions that we're asking in the repeat survey is, did you have a dream job or industry as a child? And are you or have you worked within that industry? Because it's just really interesting. I'll go off on a tangent, but to see
No,
if
no,
you
it's
followed
interesting.
dreams.
It's interesting, and I think they're super important. Like dreams are, and often you want to be what you can see, right? Like you can see someone is a whatever it might be,
Mm.
you identify with it, you want to be it, and stuff like that. What's interesting now is it's hard to imagine what the jobs of the future, what the jobs of next year or 2 years or 3 years. Things are going so quick.
Oh,
The
yeah.
on the other side of the coin, though, I think I often, if there's I got asked to. I think there was like in primary school, there was like a, careers day and, like, what do you want to be when you grow up and stuff. And on the other side of the coin is actually, for young people, I would say just try stuff,
Yeah.
like go collect experiences. It's often, the person you work with is often most valuable than the actual job itself. Like you learn so many things from working with great people and learning and seeing how they do things and stuff like that. So I think like, like early on in your career, like it's fine to try stuff. Like really is fine to try
Completely.
stuff.
Yeah, completely. And one of the things that we talk about Be Yourself at Work is actually, the movement of Be Yourself at Work. For so many people now, work is almost like an inconvenience. It's something that they see as encroaching on their life that they see outside of work. Um, and actually, particularly for young people coming into work, if you can see and change the way you think about work so that, work is an opportunity to play to a certain extent. It's an opportunity for you to experience yourself and who you are and make a difference. And you have choices. A lot of people will say to me, well, hang on a minute, Liz, if you work in a factory, you haven't got a choice. Well, I know plenty of people that work in factories and they've worked hard and they work their way up and they make a massive difference to the people in their world around them. And so see work as exciting, as something that you can have a try with. You can change different kind of jobs, and experience different things. Yeah, to be you.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because I have a few different views on this. And I think, I mean, number one is, I mean, the work's the thing you do most in your life. You spend more time with your colleagues and etc. than you do with your family and your friends, right? I
Yeah.
mean, if you're working in a factory, it's classic kind of whatever, let's say 9 to 5, and you've got to clock in and clock out. If you're fortunate enough to do a job that's flexible and you can choose your
Hmm.
hours and you're home based, or you can get whatever, you pick a bit. But I think it's important to do what you enjoy and be happy. The other thing is, so many people talk about it and it's really quite hard to achieve. Most people I speak with, they're not there. They're not doing something that they're like jumping out of bed for. They're
Yeah.
not like, oh damn, it's Friday, or
Yeah.
yes, it's Monday. Like a lot of,
I know.
which is what you
Yeah.
should be, right? You should
Yeah.
be like that.
Completely.
But many people aren't. And I think there's a lot of pressure for people to find that. Like everyone talks about it on social media, on podcasts like this. It's like you got to do what makes you happy. And I think that's for sure the goal.
Yeah.
What do you think then, just on because a lot of folks I speak with, then they're like, hey, do you know what? Like, economics, right? Like I have to earn money, support my family and stuff. And actually it's not the most enjoyable thing. And maybe it wasn't what I dreamed about when I was growing up, but it pays the bills.
Yeah.
And, so I bring some of myself to work,
Yeah.
but the rest of myself, actually, it's me on the weekend kind of thing. What
Yeah.
are your thoughts on that?
How long have we got for this podcast? Um, um, so the answer I've been doing this for over a decade now, and we've worked with some of the biggest companies in the world and some of the smallest companies in the world. And actually, the answers are really straightforward. the first thing is you have to feel able to be you. So if you want to be happy in your work, the quickest way to be happy in your work is actually to make your work an expression of yourself. Be yourself. That will make you happy. It's the same if you be yourself at the weekend, you'll be happy at the weekend. If
And
you're
what
going
do
to,
you mean by, just sorry to interrupt, just by
right?
being yourself? Because are there set?
Yes, yeah. So this is so hence how long have you got for this podcast? So we measure it. Only 16% of people feel like they can be themselves at work. But here's the challenge. Okay, only 24% of people, when you ask them, actually know who they are. So how can you be you if you don't know who you are? And if you don't know who you are, you can't consciously understand how to be you and how to bring your whole self to work. And a lot of people, when you say to them, "Who are you?" they'll say, "This is my name, my history, my story, my self doubt, my experience, my skills, my education, my kids, my husband, my wife, where I live." All of that is just in your journey and in your head. Who you really are as Lewis is on the inside of you. It's your character, it's your values. And if you can really understand your values and what makes you you uniquely, you can consciously use that to actually express yourself, to work in an industry that allows you and aligns to your values. The challenge, though, the second part, and it's much easier than people think. Number one, know your values, know who you are. Number one, talk about bringing your whole self to work. That is you. Find out who you are, your values. Second thing is actually to be confident enough to be yourself. So one of the things that we reviewed in the last survey and we're doing in this year's survey again is, measuring how comfortable people are with being them. So this is one of the biggest challenges with workplace culture. We all want to look impressive. We all want to appear to be competent, to be capable of what we're doing. And yet on the inside, the vast majority of us are really self-conscious. We really worry what people think about us. We compare ourselves to other people. I'll tell you a statistic. Over 70% of men never have a positive conversation with themselves on the inside.
Really? How many? Say that again.
No, over 70% of men never have a positive conversation with themselves on the inside. That came out of the survey, the last statistical survey on Be Yourself at Work. So if you think about the fact that we compare ourselves to others, we're really critical of ourselves, we want to appear competent and capable of what we're doing, the immediate tendency for human beings is to change ourselves to look more impressive. The minute we do that, we move away from who we are. The minute you move away from who you are, what happens is you stop being as happy. You feel less you can't bring your whole self to work. So what we've got to do, what we work on doing anyway, and what I've spent my life doing, is helping people to understand you and then have the confidence to be you. And those two things will make you happy, and they're both within your control.
Yeah, no, love that, love that. Yeah. I think a lot of the time people wait for the company to provide these kinds of things when actually it's you, right? It's you deciding how you spend your time, what you do, whether it's exercise, eating well, sleeping well, all this positive talk, right? Because you hear yourself the most, right? You're in your head
Yeah,
talking,
you're in your own
you know.
head. Cool. Yeah,
You're in your own head. You can look in the
absolutely.
mirror and tell yourself you're the best on whatever on the planet, and it's always a self-talk of like, I'm not good enough. I'm not whatever enough,
Yes,
and if you just take one little word out,
yes,
the not, and just say, I am, and just keep doing it,
exactly.
keep doing it, keep doing it.
Exactly. Exactly. I am good enough. I am capable of doing this. And that positive self-talk, it just transforms everything, because the other thing that happens is that people stop making things about them, worrying about them and overthinking and procrastinating. Once you accept yourself and know yourself, suddenly it's about other people. And you hear people and you can be intuitive and you can have conversations that can change people's lives because you're there for them in the world of
Yeah,
work.
yeah.
Amazing.
Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Please do not forget to subscribe. Any comments or feedback, please drop us a DM. If you've got anything that you want us to discuss, again, feel free to get in touch. Have a wonderful day.